I'm going to call the meeting of the Fairport Industrial Development Agency for May 16, 2022 to order. We'll start off by asking if there's any public comment for the IDA board. And hearing no one and seeing no one, I'll close the public comment portion of our meeting, and we'll move on to approval of the April 18th, 2022 meeting minutes of the IDA. There's a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Does anyone have any comments or corrections or discussion on those minutes? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Move on to financial reporting, starting with resolution 2022-05, authorizing payment of the IDA bills.
Having reviewed them in detail, I move payment of the IDA bills.
I'll second.
Is there any questions or discussion regarding any of those bills? All in favor?
Aye.
Move on to other financial statements. We have cash balances and financial statements, as well as the investment report from Tompkins. So let's start with cash balances and financials. Any discussion, anything, Martha, that you would like to call out for us?
Yes, during this time of rising rates, I was working with our Tompkins advisor and discussed, opportunities to, get a little better yield. So that's maturing CD plus the cash balances in our investment account. We invested $175,000 in a one-year treasury that's yielding 2%.
Wow.
Better than the 0.2%. So, and again, we walked through what's maturing in the portfolio and what our cash needs are. So I felt
What are their
comfortable.
12-month CDs?
I'm sorry?
What is their 12 months?
I usually only get 30, 60, 90 quotes.
Okay.
So I haven't seen did I see one? No, I didn't. Mm-mm. I know a 5-year CD is like 2.5. So the treasury was a good option.
It's going to be changing. So,
Yes.
okay. And we have the Tompkins financial statements. It looks very similar to, I'm sure, ones we're getting at home.
I just had a question on the P&L, literally the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make sure that, no, I wasn't reading it right. I just realized I wasn't reading it right. Okay.
Okay. One of the things I want to, thanks for, directing our attention there. We do not budget that unrealized loss on investment. We have to account for it, but when we work with the finance committee, it's a non-cash expense. It's not even an expense. It'll go away once the CDs mature, but that's how we have to account for it. So don't be alarmed that we have an unrealized loss on investment of the $67,000 without a budget. That's
Okay.
it's
Okay.
Mhm.
Thanks.
And
Yep.
if you take that out,
Right.
then we're at right at zero.
Correct.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions on P&L?
What was the repairs and maintenance? Is that Butterfly?
Yep.
Anyone else have anything on any of those statements? All right, we can move on to old business. First item is the Fairport Cannery LLC regarding the ownership change. We spoke about that last month and asked that we be given a marketing plan or some sort of some written plan as to what the next steps are, before we actually sign off on that change. And Martha, you can give us an update on
I specifically requested things about the leasing plan and the marketing aspects and so forth, and I have not received any communications. So I wanted to get the board's input on how direct we should be with them at this time, or another phone call, another email, or make it a little more direct. There's nothing new that's happening there that I'm aware of. I actually spoke with Chris Schaefer a couple times today on matters about the Steel Rail Festival and so forth. And there's no activity at 75 North Main that he reported on. I actually gave him a lead for something for 75. So just wanted to see how the board.
But I guess my thought is probably it's worth one more just follow-up email saying we requested and no action will be taken probably until such time as it's received. And then it's not like they really need our consent to, to go about their business as is, but I'm guessing at some point there will be.
It's part of their pilot agreement that ownership change requires our approval.
No, I
Oh,
understand that part, but I'm just saying at some point they're going to need to come, they will suspect they will be coming for us for some adjustment to that or something like that, at that point gives us a little more leverage in that situation. Because the alternatives is a foreclosure or whatever.
Right.
Or the elimination of the pilot, and I don't think anybody's.
No.
We've gone down the road this far that anybody's interested in that. So
good.
Maybe just a follow-up email. And
all right. Thank you.
any other thoughts on that?
Martha, can you keep it on our radar next month again?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think I'm a fan of enforcing our documents. If it's required, it should be obtained, and because then when you come to the part where it's really important, if you haven't demonstrated your sincerity about the documents, it makes it more difficult. So yes, I will be.
Set.
Yeah.
And it really should have happened before
Correct.
They closed on the property.
Correct.
And now the act just happened, and there's.
We are meeting again next week.
That's true. If it should be approved, the calendar change, yes. Good thought, Ms. White, thank you.
Okay, the other business item on the agenda is my favorite worst acronym ever, the ECNHC Erie Canal National Heritage Corridor awarded grants. So
Yes.
speak to that. We got a copy of the letter that
Great.
came out.
Right. I was pretty pleased that we were awarded a grant. And in my notes to you, I indicated it was a very competitive process. And we were one of 10 infrastructure projects awarded statewide. They received over 100 applications requesting $1 million in funding for events and infrastructure. So I was pleased that we were selected. And as you may recall, in your board package, there's a budget for what we plan to do at Thomas Creek. To follow on to some comments we had last year about, enhancing the visitor experience there, in particular at the Butterfly Garden and the wetlands, with some signage, some benches, and some security cameras. We were awarded the full ask of $10,000. And I just wanted to check with the board. One of the things in my mind, we also have the boardwalk project ongoing at the same time. I'd like to see that we move forward with this concurrently, working with our engineers and the, whoever we award the contract to might be helpful with regard to some of the installation pieces and or, obviously coordinating. I'll have to get on a calendar with DPW and FMC for their pieces of this as well. So we do have, it's either 2 or 3 years to complete the project, but in my mind, we have adequate cash reserves to finance this at this time, and it makes sense to do it.
Is this reimbursable?
This will be reimbursable. Mm-hmm. Yes. So looking.
Makes sense to coordinate them,
I'm anxious to get cameras up and operational in that area.
Good. Right. I did speak with the police chief originally. FMC quoted me the kind of the fisheye lens, And I happened to speak with the police chief and said, what would you prefer? And he preferred the pan and zoom or tilt cameras, and that's what this reflects.
And I think that might be what they have on the North Bank.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure about the camera.
It sits on top of the trolley
Right.
station.
I'm not sure what it is. But if you've been over at FMC lately, they've got cameras everywhere. It's really amazing what they've got over there. So this would be part of that, and again, enhancing the security over there. So, good. Anyone? I think I'm hearing a thumbs up from everyone to go ahead and.
Yeah, if we can coordinate, I mean, there may even be, small pieces of work that could be done by way of change order with the, it's gonna be different funding. I don't know. We could work through that.
Yes.
To see if it's gonna make a difference which pot it comes out of.
Is the in-kind the resources to install those things? Or-
Yes.
Okay.
I obtained the quote for the purchase and installation of the cameras directly from FMC.
Okay, so it's the purchase and installation.
Mm-hmm.
And what,
I'm sorry, we
DPW
purchase and they
They
install. Yeah.
Okay.
And DPW is doing the benches, right?
They'll do the pad and the benches, yeah. Mm-hmm. Great, thank you.
any other old business for IDA? Okay, moving on to the new business. The governance committee met to discuss some of the UTEP changes or possible changes we've been talking about for a while. So, I don't know, does anybody from that committee want to update us on how you made out?
Yeah, we had a good conversation. And I think the key is to try to put some structure around the pilot program so that there's more of a framework in place which we can use to attract developers. But we're going to put some more thought and consideration into the process and do some more due diligence on the pilots we put in place already, and just kind of see what makes sense to put that framework that will work for us going forward with different aspects of development in mind, thinking about affordable development, mixed use with affordable housing, mixed use for a new development where there's not an existing property, and then also historic properties, and then mixed use with regard to existing properties. So I think we are going to circle back once we have some more time to consider and talk through some options that will ultimately get us to a finalized place where there's good structure and something that will work really well going forward.
Well, it's a really important piece of what we do, and it can have a big impact on how we do things and what it means to this community. So yeah, take whatever time is necessary to make sure that we got it right and it reflects everybody's thoughts. Yeah, great thing.
I want to thank the governance committee for their time because it really was very, very good conversation. And I subsequent to the meeting, I shared with them, 4 of our existing pilots, 2 custom, to give them a little more background. So it was a great conversation. Thank you.
Okay, that's governance committee. Steel Rail Festival during the North Main parking lot. We have an application, but that's really about all we have. So
Right.
I trust you probably talked with somebody
Right.
about that.
We did receive this application following a visit to my office by Steve Barlotta and Lisa Enos. They had been working with the village about holding the Steel Rail Festival July 17th. At this time, it's my understanding that the festival will not require any village resources. It will all be within. However, they did ask us if they could use our parking lot. Now, I received this application, and you can note they said North Main parking lot east, and they talked about a stage and restroom and vendors and all that type of thing. So I've gone back to them and asked them for additional information, a site plan of where they plan to put things, any other, other locations throughout the village. Because the way this app reads, it's like it's only happening in our parking lot. I need a lot more additional information. But in clarifying it with them, they are actually talking about the small parking lot on the west side. The one adjacent to the village inn. And there is, the owners of the cannery are very interested in holding this festival. I understand and I think maybe in our earlier discussions, we talked about that some of the tenants were not.
Yeah, I think we
Keen
were
on it.
told by the owners that their tenants voted not to support it.
We were told by the owners reps that, and then today I confirmed that the owner is very much in favor of the
However, the
festival.
tenants still are not.
I have had occasion to speak with a tenant who's concerned. But Claire, I've still asked for additional information, that they're talking about which parking lot we're talking about. And then we'll go forward from there.
I think
I'm
the
less
difficulty with
concerned.
that is it is not just giving up parking spaces, it's giving up access as well. That is access to other properties.
Right, that they'd have to work that out certainly
Yeah,
with
and
their
I think
neighbors.
that,
Mhm.
just on this, without really thinking about the details, I think that's something that I question how.
Sure. Right, absolutely. I do think though, should those details be worked out between their neighbors to the west and
There's a lot of neighbors to the west
yes,
that would have to be
Yeah.
satisfied,
two of them are on board.
right?
The large property owner, I'm not aware of what his arrangement is. However, I do think that out of safety, closing our parking lot, it makes sense in allowing them to use it to be, with everything to be worked out, insurances and all that stuff, but it doesn't make sense to have a 35 car parking lot open to parking when they can't go anywhere else but back out of it and if the rest of it's closed. So
But they're not closing it.
they are closing the cannery parking lot to hold the Steel Rail Festival. The owner of the cannery is going to
When you
close.
said they're for it, but I guess
I'm
I
sorry.
misunderstood when they told us they were going to not agree
Mhm.
to it because their tenants did not want it.
Right,
And
that
so
has changed.
that has changed.
Yes, when in my conversation with,
So that makes a difference on
yes,
what I was thinking. I was
yes,
thinking
I'm sorry if I
They were
wasn't,
doing
I
it just
wasn't
in
clear.
art.
No. This app sounds like it is, but no,
Well,
the,
yeah, I
Yeah.
came in here thinking it was
yeah,
going
me
to be
too, yeah.
by the old compound.
Right.
It's not.
Right. So when I spoke with Chris Schaefer today, he confirmed that the cannery parking lot will be closed to the public.
And so is that the sole location now? Because they were, last I had heard, they were looking at Fairport Junction for using that.
Exactly. So again,
So
I've
that's
asked,
not happening.
no.
Well,
I did
it's not village property, that's.
I did speak with the village manager, and he's also waiting information. It's not gelled yet, I guess. So that's why we're in the hold pattern on this. But I will keep you informed, obviously. So sorry for the confusion there.
Any thoughts, or just wait and see what comes out next?
Yep.
From there. Yeah, you might, if they're getting information, you might want to strongly suggest that they have it in for our meeting next week, because, I mean, if they're waiting till the June meeting, they're pretty much running out of.
Yeah.
Good
running down
idea.
to the wire.
Mhm.
You're gonna submit
Yep.
a separate and updated proposal request?
Yes, this is
Yeah, we have to,
inadequate.
Yeah, this is, I mean, this isn't even talk about the right place.
Right.
Okay, meeting calendar changes.
Right, this is to just schedule the May 25th meeting to award the contract for the Thomas Creek Wetlands Boardwalk renovation.
Did we also, was there, we correcting another month?
Yeah,
Remember, so you, or Donna, one of them,
Oh,
we corrected it. August 15th.
because we had it on our calendars different than what was being shown.
Did we correct it last month? Or, I mean, did we,
It's corrected, yeah.
okay,
So that was August, and so the
Yes.
August date is the 15th.
Move approval of the calendar change.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any other new business for IDA?
I don't have any chair.
Anybody on the board have any IDA business? Okay. Then I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.